Here is a OLED Switch running Midnight Club from the PSP, and you might be wondering, how are you doing this? How is this possible? Well, this is actually a hacked OLED Switch, and I know I've already made this video before, but unfortunately Nintendo saw my YouTube channel, they saw those videos, so I took them down to avoid further repercussions. I'm going to be showing all the capabilities of the hacked Switch without actually playing any games by Nintendo. The hacked Switch is probably the best hacked console of all time, to be honest. Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's very hard to hack a Switch, but once you do have that, it is probably the best hacked console to own. Just to quickly summarize before I explain, you can play all your DS games, no issues. You can play PSP games, some, as I just showed you, there is a little bit of, compatibility issues. There is a way to play 3DS games, although I personally don't find it very practical. And then those Nintendo Switch online libraries that you guys know, with a hacked Switch, you can just put any ROM you want on there. So you're talking every game from the Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, NES, SNES. You could play your PlayStation 1 games, like you literally have all your consoles in one. And look, I know there's gonna be a bunch of geeks and nerds out there that are gonna be, just buy a PC, just buy a Steam Deck, ignoring the fact that there's people who have preferences. Not everyone wants to play on a computer. Not everyone wants to play on a handheld computer at that. Switch OLED is what, 350? I think they might have increased the price, but it's 350 USD right now. Yeah, and I guess let's go to Melon DS, which is what's gotten me millions and millions and millions of views. We do this. So this is a DS emulator. Obviously, as you can see, the screen is rotated. So you might be wondering, why is the screen rotated? Well, I'm going to show you why. This right here is called a flip grip, and I will leave a link to it in the description. So I have my camera in front of me, so it is a bit hard to do this, and we put the controllers on the side. Gosh, I cannot fit this pause into the camera. As you can see, we have some DS games right here. Like I said, I cannot play anything that is by Nintendo. So let's go ahead and play Plants vs. Zombies for the DS. It actually boots into the DS firmware. Like, look at this, it's insane. And then as you saw right there, you saw my name too, Big Shirt. Here we go. I'll turn up the volume a little bit, although it really won't matter. And then touchscreen works. The Switch is touchscreen. I had one guy comment on my YouTube short, actually the Switch isn't touchscreen because I own one, and it's not touchscreen. Yeah, so for all of you people that want to make content, just know there are actually surprisingly a lot of dumb people out there. And so yeah, touchscreen still works, and the game runs flawlessly. One common, very, very common myth about running DS games on the Switch is that they run poorly and the audio is messed up. That is because those people don't actually know what they're doing. Not in a disrespectful way. That's because they don't actually know what they're doing. You have to overclock your Switch, and you also have to have the correct BIOS files for the DS, and it runs flawlessly. And even on top of that, the games are in pixel perfect. And when I say pixel perfect, I don't mean actual a 1-to-1 pixel ratio. I know I had some guy, divide the resolution of the OLED Switch and said, look, it's not actually. Yes, bro, I know it's not actually pixel perfect. Display settings, here are my settings for anyone wondering. So filtering, if you have it to linear, it's a little bit more blurry. So look, I'll do that really quick. So this is what it looks like on linear. That is what it looks like. I'm gonna go in with my capture card, my Elgato capture card, and capture just a bunch of footage and a bunch of screenshots. And so yeah, it runs flawlessly, looks amazing. It's on, this screen is bigger than a DSi XL, and it's brighter than a DSi XL because obviously this is OLED. How do I get a hacked Switch? So if you own a Switch that you bought when the Switch was released back in 2017, chances are you can soft mod the Switch, meaning you do not have to take it apart and solder. If it's anything after that, especially if it's an OLED Switch, you have to hard mod it using a mod chip. Thankfully, the prices of mod chips have dropped to like $10-15 or something crazy cheap. They used to be like hundreds. Now they're like $15-10 on eBay. What type of mod chip do you need to get? I personally, for the OLED Switch, I used a PicoFly mod chip. Feel free to reach out to me on Instagram and I will try to get back to you. The thing is that a lot of, with all due respect, a lot of you guys DM me, and when it's, one Google search away. And then with that mod chip, you will have to solder the mod chip to the Switch. Now, I highly recommend getting a professional to do this. Personally, I know how to solder, but even I took it to a professional, a guy that I know in the Los Angeles area who does it. If you guys are in the Los Angeles area too, shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'll forward you his information. Micro soldering is a whole nother ball game because it's literally, the name implies you need a microscope. One of the biggest questions is, will I get banned? Will I get banned? Will it, this and that? Can I play online still? With a Switch, a hacked Switch, you actually will not get banned unless you do something stupid. You will not get banned. And you can still play online. It's very, very crazy. So what it looks like when you first boot into your console. As you can see right here, these are different firmwares, okay? You can boot back into your stock firmware, which is your non-modified Switch. That firmware is still there. Then you have the option to boot into your custom firmware, which is where all the hacked stuff is. So if you boot into the stock firmware, keep it stock, keep it up to date, still play online, you will not get banned. Boot into your hacked firmware, you stay offline. Well, you don't stay off. You can obviously still connect to the internet, but what I mean by offline is not connect to the Nintendo servers. Run your game backups, run your cheat codes, run your emulators, so on and so forth. And now, as you can see, I have a custom theme. And that's one thing that's very cool about having a hacked Switch is you can create a custom theme, download custom themes. This theme right here is called Unison R. I'll leave a link to it in the description. And it's just a very, very clean and simple theme. Way better than the default Switch theme. And yeah, so that's one of the benefits is that for whatever reason Nintendo had custom themes for the 3DS but not for the Switch, so it's whatever, but okay. By the way, I know you guys have probably noticed that this is a new desk, and I just want to say thank you to SEDETA for sending me this desk. It's very nice. I'll show it to you. I'll show you guys some more pictures of it. If you guys do want to get one, I'll leave a link to it in the description, along with, because I get asked this all the time, and even though they're not sponsoring me for this, is the Joy-Cons. Everyone loves these Joy-Cons. I'll leave a link to them in the description as well. Although Nintendo, if you do see this video, be sure, feel free to contact me. I do have a lot of great and amazing ideas of how you can prevent people from hacking your consoles and also improve your own console and just make everyone happy and make more money while doing it, because a lot of people do not like you right now and they're not happy with anything you are doing. And then, as I was saying, as I mentioned, improved Nintendo Switch online libraries, because let's be honest, I love Nintendo. Either they're very money hungry right now at the moment, and they are very lazy. Problem with Nintendo is that they're so big and powerful that it's like they feel like they can just do whatever and people will still buy their stuff, and it's kind of working, unfortunately. So yeah, as you guys know, in the Game Boy Advanced NSO, which is short for Nintendo Switch Online Library, they didn't have any Pokemon games, because for whatever reason, they thought that was a good idea. Now, why did they do that? I don't know. Maybe because they thought, if we don't do it here, we can just remaster the game for $80 and sell it to you guys. But yeah, as you can see right here, I have games that are not supposed to be on here, like Pokemon, like all the Pokemon games, Sapphire, Ruby, Leaf Green, Dragon Ball Z. Here we go. As you can see, it runs perfectly fine, no issues at all. Now, for the N64 and the SNES, it is actually significantly harder to port your ROMs. But using RetroArch, you can, just run them like that. I believe that a lot of the gaming stuff has a lot to do with psychology, which is just my opinion. And if I put a game on the on one of the NSOs, it feels a little more legit and it feels a little more enjoyable, especially with the cleaner UI. But sometimes, it's different playing it on a emulator. But yeah, here it is. We got Trunks right there, and then if we go over here, game, boom, there you go. And I, manually imported a ROM for that game. The number one thing you can do, obviously with any hacked console, but specifically with the Switch, is run game backups. So here are, you know, just a quick look at all of my game backups. Obviously, I don't have anything in the game slot. And by the way, this is a Nintendo Switch. You know, a lot of people sometimes think that, you know, I'm faking it or using like one of those emulator consoles. Let's just go into Crash. I know this game is not by Nintendo, so I should not get sued. The only downside about the Switch are, I would say, the loading times. The loading times are pretty crucial, I'm not gonna lie. So here it is, the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. And now, how do you obtain game backups? There are ways to illegally download, you know, games like Mario, you know, Super Mario Odyssey. But just so you guys know, I do not provide any of that here or anywhere. Do not DM me, do not ask me how. Yes, there are ways to do it, but it is illegal. That is piracy. But there are also legitimate ways to do it. And as you can see, here is Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. Oh gosh, that is my controller is vibrating like crazy. To legitimately obtain, you know, a backup of a game, you could put this in your Switch. You know, it's a physical copy of Super Mario Odyssey. You put it in here, and then using a hacked Switch, you just copy the contents of the cartridge and you back them up. So you just basically have the game as a file. But even if you actually have, you know, purchase your games on the Nintendo eShop, so it's only a digital copy, you can actually still rip them with a hacked Switch, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, so there it is there, the game backups. Yeah, everyone loves game backups. And now here we have the PSP emulator, which I'm going to load into here. For this, you also have to overclock your Switch for it to run decently. And so here it is. I'll give you guys, you know, live footage. And also another thing too, another cool thing is that you can run custom save files as well. Not only for your Switch game backups, but also for your even games on emulators. So, you know, Pokemon Soul Silver, like this one right here, I have a custom save file right here actually. So as you can see right here, it's running really good in 60 frames a second. Like it runs very well. A cool thing you could do with save files is just, you know, like Animal Crossing, Pokemon, you could do whatever you want. Like you could get all the shinies in the game. Even in the emulators, you can get, you know, modded save files too. So like, for like Pokemon Soul Silver, you could use the same save editor that you can in like Sword and Shield, and it's super cool. So as you can see, the PSP emulator is not perfect, but runs very well. There's actually a way to make this game run very good if you want to just like cruise around. Yeah, arcade race. I want to cruise in Tokyo. Midday, weather, clear, traffic, and I turn the traffic off so there's less NPCs. It actually runs really good. So there's always, you know, workarounds and, you know, configurations to everything. But yeah, here we are in Tokyo in a Lamborghini Murcielago. Man, I love this game, bro. It just reminds me of like the 2000s, bro. I miss the 2000s, man. Damn it. But yeah, look, just runs perfect 60 frames a second. Just runs really good. Like this, like if you want to just, oh, okay, there we go. Now it messes up now that I say that. But no, other than that, it runs really good. You know, you guys get the point. It runs very well. And, you know, it's there. The fact that we can even do this, I think it's just that nowadays we're extremely spoiled. And I just totaled my car. But nowadays, you know, we're extremely spoiled with, you know, like I said, just buy a PC and do whatever you want on there. That we forget, like, because just imagine if you were in, just imagine yourself in 2013 and I showed you this device right here, you would lose your freaking mind. You get what I'm saying? So I think a lot of people just need to, you know, chill out sometimes and just stop like being so, for example, a lot of people complain about graphics nowadays in certain games when it's like, bro, in my opinion, graphics peaked in the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 era with, you know, like God of War 3, for example. I mean, graphics can't really get any better than that, if you get what I'm saying. And then we have also Sky NX, which allows me to stream my computer's monitor to my Switch. And I made my last full-length video. I did that and I ran a 3DS emulator on my computer and streamed it to my Switch, which is one method of playing 3DS games on here. There is also another method, and I don't actually have it set up on my Switch. You can also do things like run an Android OS on your Switch, and you can run a Linux OS on your Switch. If you were to get a Linux OS, you can download there's a newer 3DS emulator called Azahar. And so if you were to download Linux on your Switch and then run the Switch or the 3DS emulator on there, that's one way of doing it. But like I said, it's not very practical, especially for me personally. Like if I could, I would just rather have all my emulators right here because it just feels more legit, you know, like it's supposed to be that way. I don't know, that's just me. I'm just weird like that. But you know, like I said, this is why I don't like people who are just like, just get a PC, blah, 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 blah. Because a lot of this comes down to preference. It depends on how you know, the person watching this, how do you enjoy playing your games? You know, whatever's going to make you the happiest, do that, you know? And last but not least, we also have cheat codes as well. And then, yeah, coincidentally enough, this game actually supports, you know, a vertical or horizontal, you know, resolution for whatever reason. And this is like a legit game too. So, I mean, I don't know. That kind of blew my mind. I never knew that. It's not like back in the day with the 3DS or the DS. Well, I guess I should say specifically the DS, like with action replay cheat codes. For example, every damn game on the DS that ever existed had action replay cheat codes. You feel me? If you guys know what I'm talking about, like if you know, you know. Like every game had them, and they had like thousands of codes for each game. On the Switch, on the other hand, there's not that many games that are supported, and even if they are, there's sometimes just not that many cheat codes. Okay, so for example, you would boot into the game that you want to run a cheat code on, go into your album, which on hacked, you know, on custom firmware boots into this, open Breeze, and then yeah, you would go to cheats, and no cheats. See, it says no cheats available. But yeah, that's how you would activate them, and then you would just go back to your game, and that's how you would do it. I'm gonna show you guys RetroArch real quick, and I'll probably play some Tekken 3 because your boy loves Tekken 3. Here I have some Atari games, Atari 7800 games, but here I have my PS1 games, and the PS1 games run so good, like so good, so ridiculously good on here with just no issues. You don't even need the BIOS files, even though I have them. Here is Tekken 1, looks great, doesn't need any upscaling, pixel perfect, so on and so forth. The Homebrew App Store is where you can download all of the, you know, all of these applications that you see right here. JK Save is what you use to extract your save files and modify them, do whatever you want to them. So Moonlight is basically just Sky NX, except better, but for some reason I just couldn't get it to work on my Switch. And then this NX dump tool is what allows you to dump your physical game cartridges and also the digital games. NX Themes is how you get custom themes. This just lets you play video files. This lets you overclock your Switch. This one right here actually is what lets you use any controller you want, including a PS5 controller, PS4 controller, so on and so forth, as a Nintendo Switch Pro controller, and it works so ridiculously well. I mean, like before I got these Joy-Cons, I was doing that all the time. I think personally it works better if you're playing like in docked. And yeah, if you're playing in docked and then play with like a PS5 controller, it's the experience is so much better. Like it's ridiculously good. And then this little application right here lets you, it's USB file transfer. It's just so that you don't have to take out your SD card of your Switch and then put it in your computer. You just do it via USB-C. It's really, really convenient. And other than that, guys, I just want to say thank you, you know, for the support. This video is for educational purposes only, and I'm not promoting piracy. I'm not promoting any of that. What I am promoting is video game preservation. That's all. That's it. That's all. I just don't want our old video games to die, because, you know, I'm sure all of you guys could relate to this. You know, if you had the option to go back in time and save, you know, your first Minecraft world, you know, if you could go back in time and tell yourself, you know, don't delete your Minecraft world, don't delete your first Animal Crossing village, whatever, like you would save that thing. And that's the whole idea of video game preservation. Any questions you guys have, leave it in the comment sections. All the links will be in the description, and hopefully I answered your question already. And if not, you can also DM me. Like I said, I can't guarantee you that I will reach back, but yeah, thank you to SEDETA for sending me this new desk. I really appreciate that. Love you guys. Stay motivated, stay dedicated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.